in the second day.
And it's really starting to torrent.
Oh, yes.
Yes, it felt really strong this last meditation. And we're getting a lot of feedback from people around the world, tuning in and feeling it. And it's important to understand that this is a process. It's not something that stops at the end of the meditation, that it actually will be continuing with us for a day or two afterwards. And quite a few people were asking about the Galactic Command, and the commander said that they're available. And so there were questions, well, how do we connect with them? And it's simple. You connect with them in exactly the same way as you would connect with any other guide. It helps if you're kind of in meditation and inviting them to connect with you, and you can ask for them to bring you a gentle energy field, because that's a nice way of feeling the connection that's there. So one of the things that Alcazar mentioned, or was it Alcazar? No, maybe it was the commander, who said that some of you will feel a stronger connection to the Galactic Command because you have an aspect of your soul or your higher self that's actually incarnated there. So that brought up a lot of questions for some people. What is this aspect? Well, there's many different religions or spiritual lines of thought that say that your soul or your higher self, which Alcazar says is two names for the same entity, which is you, that has the ability to subdivide into 12 parts. And one of those parts is the human self that's going through these experiences lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. But you have these other 11 aspects that exist simultaneously in different realities. The reason that we're not aware of them is because this earthly experience has many aspects to it, one of which is separation. We're actually here to feel separate from the whole. In truth, we're not. We're all part of a vibrating energy field. But from the human experience, we've decided to come and have this feeling of being separate from. And so because we are in separation here, we're also disconnected from the awareness of these other aspects of ourselves. Now, as we're beginning to evolve and as we're becoming more conscious, as our vibration is going up, we start to reach a place where we can reconnect to those other aspects of ourselves. And Alcazar's given me several experiences which are really demonstrations to myself and others about the reality of this. And the most powerful experience for me happened way back in the beginning when I first started to channel. I'm going to mention it because it is a very powerful demonstration of this aspect. When Alcazar first started to come through, he wanted to talk about Pleiadians and Arcturans and different star families, and I didn't know if it was real. And so every time he wanted to talk about it, I'd actually cut it off, because I didn't want to be talking about things that I wasn't sure if it was real or not. And so the more he wanted to talk about it, and the more I cut him off, we got into this kind of challenge. And I said, okay, if it's real, prove it to me, and then you can talk about them. And so I wasn't sure what I'd expect, maybe to see a flying saucer or something like that. But what happened was very amazing. He told me to go down to Casanova, which is my favorite coffee bar on Maui, to hang out there, which I did. And after a short while, a couple came up and sat next to me, and then they got talking, and it came around to, well, what are you doing? And it was all very new to me, and so it was like, well, I'm a channel. Oh, what do you channel? Well, I channeled this guy, Alcazar. Oh, that's very interesting. What are you doing with that? Well, I'm doing sessions with people. And this woman said, wow, can you do sessions with us? And so I said, okay. I did a session with her husband, and she called the next day and said, wow, it was amazing. Can I have a session? And I said, sure. And she said, can we do an exchange? And I said, sure. What would you like to offer in exchange? And she said, I take people up to the spaceships. And it was like, whoa, okay. So we went back to my home. We did a session with her. And afterwards she said, are you ready? And I said, yes, where do we go? And she said, actually, we go out of body. So we don't have to go anywhere. Just lie down on the floor. And I said, well, I don't know how to go out of body. I've never done that before. And she said, well, just relax. We'll help you. So after a few moments, I found myself floating. It was a strange sensation because I could still feel my body on the floor, but my consciousness was somehow floating above the body. And she said, good, now we go straight up. So there was this sensation of moving, and then I found myself as if I was lying on something hard. I could see, but I was like in a thick mist. And then she said, well, just wait a moment, they're going to work on your energy. And then suddenly I could see, and I was in a small amphitheater type space with 12 or 16 people there, and they started clapping. And she asked, do you know why they're clapping? And I said, I've got no idea. And she said, well, usually you come up here at night and you don't remember it. This is the first time you've come up here consciously. And so that was like a bit of a surprise for me. But then what happened, that everybody was leaving and there was just one person standing by the door. And she said, do you recognize this person? And I looked at him and it was like, wow, yes, he's so familiar. But I don't know where I know him from. And she said, that is you in this dimension. And that was just too much for my mind. I didn't know what to do with that. That this guy that was standing there was me. So anyway, she said, now we're going to go from this small craft that we're on, we're going to go to the mothership. And so we walked out of the room and we were walking along a corridor, and she was behind talking and asking questions, and he was on my left. And after a few paces, suddenly, we kind of merged. And I heard myself answering her questions, talking about the ship and what was going on. And so I actually had a physical experience of merging with one of these aspects of myself. And then other things happened, but I'm not going to go into that right now. Because the most important thing was that these aspects are real. And they exist in many different realms or dimensions. And that was the first experience that I had. And after that, it was like, okay, Alcazar, you can talk about extraterrestrials as much as you like, because now I know it's real. And then a few years later, he introduced me to another aspect of myself that's in the dragon realm. It's a beautiful dragon, very large, very powerful. His name is Ran. And sometimes he'll come into the meditations too. And then the last one that came was a very beautiful, soft, feminine energy. Her name is Symphonia, and she's a mermaid. And she comes and talks about the mer people and how they are connected to humanity. So I just wanted to share that because those are 3 of my experiences. And I feel blessed because I think I was helped to connect in that way, simply to bring this information to more people. And over the years, there's been quite a lot of people who've been working with the Stargate that have actually started to connect to these other aspects of themselves.
Yeah. For me, I connected to an aspect in the unicorn realm. And what Alcazar has said is they actually incarnate as a triad. So there's my higher self experiencing life as 3 unicorns. So it's pretty interesting. I accidentally discovered this and was like totally okay with it, and I channel unicorns, and then I realized later on that like my bio is public, and my oldest brother was like, "Did you know Jules is channeling unicorns?" Like, so anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's like as we start to open up, as we start to let go of these limitations that we've been working on the last 2 days, as we let go of those things, all kinds of realities can open up. And because we're all unique, we're all different, different things will open up for us at the most appropriate moment.
So I'm feeling the weirdness. I'm curious if you're feeling it too. I mean, I feel very light, but I am feeling the kind of stretched, interesting sensations.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
And there was something else. Oh yeah, there was a few people commenting on the chat that they're not used to meditating for a long time in silence. Well, expand. Allow that as a possibility. And yes, the mind does get busy sometimes. And when you notice it's busy, just take a little deeper breath and tune back in. And just understand that if you're open, if you're willing to receive these energies, you will be receiving them, whether or not you're feeling them. Now, the mind likes to feel them because then you know it's happening. But it's happening to the level that you are allowing it. You are wanting to allow the transformation to happen. So, just trust, be in those silent spaces, and just bring the mind back into focus if you notice drifting it away. But don't judge yourself for drifting off. We all do that. I do that. We all do it.
And also to be aware that you may not be tangibly feeling something, but you're still receiving these alignments.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So the alignments work on a level that does not require conscious observation of the alignment itself. So, and this in this altered state that a lot of us get to when we do this energetic work or meditation work, sometimes we don't have full conscious awareness of what's happening. But the more we do it, our conscious awareness expands. It's like a muscle. And then we can be in deep altered states and still be in observation mode. We can witness what is happening. So it is an encouragement for you to continue doing it and to see how this part of yourself, this inner observer, can stretch and expand and grow to be present with you, even if you're in altered states, even if you're on very, very high frequency planes. And then things get really interesting, because then all kinds of forms of consciousness come into play, and you get to see things that rarely in our standard 3D operations we get to see.
Wow.
You mentioned in the break you were seeing something when the commander came in.
Oh yeah, that was really interesting, fascinating. I mean, all morning was basically full of visuals. I'm more of, in the visual space. And I think yesterday afternoon it started with very strong visuals of different types of geometries, different types of sacred geometries, geometrical shapes that are just present. And as you and I discussed earlier, some forms of consciousness, they don't appear to us in humanoid form. They just exist in different types of forms, including geometries.
Yeah.
And as the commander was speaking, there was like this very palpable and very visible neon, like lightning blue color of energy streaming
Wow.
through.
Mm.
And that normally is a signal for me of this very potent energy being present and being delivered into the space.
Yeah, the commander doesn't come through very often, so it's kind of nice that he came through, and it's a recognition of the level that everyone here and around the world is holding the frequency. So it's an honoring of us, what we're doing. Cool. So, time for the next experience, I think.
Yeah, I think we're ready to take it to another level up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to ask you all just to close the eyes and relax.
And again, you know what to do with the music link if you're on the live stream. Okay.
And so, beloved ones, again, simply relaxing into the energetic that is around you and within you. Inviting once more the etheric stargate to be around you and active.
And so we call forth, we call back into our awareness, our etheric stargates. And also recalling all the energetics, all the guides we have been working with. Just the intention is all that is required. Connecting back into the quantum field.
And a reminder that the presence of this one Sananda wishes to be acknowledged and for you to be aware of his presence. And so just notice that as we mention, his energy gets stronger. Feeling his presence. Jesus the Nazarene, Sananda, Yeshua, feeling his presence. And he will be holding this energetic as we move into the next phase. For there will be another sharing of energy from the Elohim in a few moments. And so you can individually invite this one Sananda to assist you in receiving the energies which will be transmitted to you in a short while. Just asking inside for him to connect with you. And just for those who are wondering, when we invite this one Sananda or Jesus, it has nothing to do with a particular religion. We are connecting with the Master himself. And so now we are going to ask the Stargate to create an opening above. It is as if the energetic of the Stargate is opening to allow a column of energy to come down into the center of this structure. And so now we are going to invite this one Asil, when he is ready, to come into the Stargate, to transmit energetics from the Elohim. So we ask you all to stay very present, to stay connected with this energetic of Sananda, who will be supporting you in receiving this transmission if you have given him your permission to do so. And so again, it is just a process of relaxing and allowing, nothing to do. Feeling as already these energies are radiating out around the world. As we said a few moments ago, the Stargate opened to allow this energy to come in. And now it is allowing these energies to be broadcast out, not just around your earth, but out into the universe also. And as each one of us around the world feels, senses these subtle energies from this transmission, visualize, imagine your crown opening, and visualize that you are sharing these energies. And as your crown opens, these energies move out also around the earth and beyond. Can you imagine that as you broadcast this energy, your star family is receiving it? It will create a great celebration for them. For it is an indication of your awakening process, your evolution continuing.
Greetings, we are Elohim. You have announced your readiness, your willingness to receive. Your entire life and the many lifetimes you've lived before, you have learned, you have grown, and you have prepared yourself. At times, knowingly and consciously, and at times, by the natural flow and the expansion of life itself. All of your experiences brought you to this very moment. To this inner knowing that you are a vessel of the divine, that you are a receiver, that you are a transmitter of this energy that moves through this plane in this very moment, and through this vessel, the host that we incorporate, that we embody, this technology of the Stargate, and the many forms of consciousness that have provided their assistance in establishing this network to support humanity's evolution. You are connected into this network. You receive from this network, and you fuel this network by your presence, with your love, with your attention. And collectively, all of those that choose to connect in collaboration, a frequency and a vibration can be held that is rarely established on this human plane. This is the power that a collective of individuals carry. A high frequency of this kind truly carries the potential to transform, and the power to transform. Your evolution is now. Experience the transformational power that lies within you. Experience the support that is all around you. And become one with the support, with the supporters, with the technologies, with the energies, with all aspects of your being. You, as one, receiving and transmitting on behalf of humanity, for humanity. Thank you. Thank you for receiving this transmission. Let this work fully impact you. Let it integrate in all the ways it requires your attention. Rest when required. Hydrate and eat when required. Align yourself with nature when required. And take silence and solitude when required. Know in which ways this integration will support you in your highest unfolding. Thank you for receiving this work.
Nothing to do. No effort is required. Simply allowing the gifts of these energetics to begin to integrate a few moments ago. We invited you to open your crown chakra and to radiate. Now we invite you to gently allow the crown to resume its normal state. And so, beloved ones, continue to allow this energetic to move with you and through you. We will bring this live stream to a close for this session, but allow yourself the time needed to relax, to absorb. Do not be in a rush. Move when you know it is appropriate to do so. And so, we will join you all again after the break.